Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the People's Choice Podcast. And if you're new to the show, welcome to the People's Choice Podcast for the first time. I'm here with a very special guest here. I'm here with Bruno Skibbild. He is an amazing artist. I had the privilege to actually interviewing his daughter, Laura Mena, from episode 72, if I'm not mistaken, which is now the highest viewed episode on YouTube. So whoop whoop. So Dad, you got a lot to cover up now. You got some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, true.
But I'm real excited to have you on. I've heard so much about you, not just from Laura, but just from my research on you as well. And we want to get into your life growing up in Denmark, getting into the music, starting way later in life. I just want to learn it all and share your positive message and your voice and your words to the world. They have something to really grab from because you've been through a lot in life and can't wait to just get to know you more.
True.
So, Bruno,
thank you. Woman accused me of abuse. County believed her for a while. They knew the truth by 1 week. They knew that it was just a lie. But county kept my kids locked up nonetheless for more than 200 days. This is a song about Bruno's children. It's a story about power abuse. This is a story about a hometown city hall. They didn't speak the truth. My children would cry and shout, we want to go home today. But county played deaf, kept my children locked up. That was power abuse and it was just pure bad. This is a song about Bruno's children.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah,
no awesome.
Yeah. The honor is all mine. Yeah. I mean, like I talked to my guests know, or not my guests, my audience know. We've talked about you a little bit, so this is now a chance to get the full dive on you.
Oh, so, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get going.
Yeah. So I always like to start off really from the beginning. So I know you were born in Denmark, and you were in a small town. I can't pronounce the name right, so I'm gonna let you do that.
Yeah, that's
we could talk a lot about that. What it was like growing up there?
Yeah, I grew up in a small town called Snejbjerg. Snejbjerg in Danish, yeah. And that's I think there was about 2,000 people living there when I was a kid. Growing up there, I went to school there, and it was back in the days where we were all the kids in the street. We were playing out in the street till late at night, and then our parents would say, "Hey, come home, come home." We didn't have any computers or almost not a TV. I mean, at home we had a black and white TV.
I was gonna say when the parents would say "come home," was it kind of like how it is over here, where like when the street lights came on, you gotta run home or you're in trouble? Okay, that's pretty
cool. Exactly. But it was nice place. But it's 50 years ago, 51 years ago, so it's been a while.
Awesome. Yeah. And I was reading that you got first introduced to music with having a guitar at 7th grade. Was that your earliest memory of music, or what was your earliest memory of music when you really fell in love with it?
That must have been before. I have two brothers who are 5 and 7 years older than me, so I was listening to their music, listening to music on the radio and so on. But in the 7th grade, I got my first guitar. It was my sister. She was playing in a band, and she brought a guitar for me so I could start practicing. So, a young kid having big brothers, listening to Kiss and Springsteen and the likes of that, and rock and roll. And that was I always liked it, music. Yeah.
Awesome. So are those are some of your biggest idols or people
definitely
that you look up to?
Yeah, really look up to Kiss as a young kid and a teenager, and I still love them. And then in '84, I discovered Springsteen. We were born in the USA, and then I've just listened to his stuff and been to a bunch of concerts with him through the years, and he has many good stories to tell, and a powerful voice and a band. That's great. I love it. Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, and shout out to Brucey and Kiss. Yeah, man, legends, legends.
Yeah, that's legend. Yeah, I've been to a Kiss concert as well. One in Copenhagen and one in Lexington, Kentucky, actually.
Man, what
It
was
was
that
20
like?
years
What
ago.
was that? Was that like in the '80s? I heard their concerts in the '80s
I
was
think
just crazy.
they were crazy. Yeah, I went there in '99,
Oh no, no,
so it was late in the career, but it was still crazy. A
okay.
stadium concert with 50,000 people.
And
That was a lot of lights, and yeah,
definitely,
smoke.
and yeah. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about your band that you was part of back in the day. We called it M87. What was that whole
Yeah,
experience like being part of that band as a young
that was great.
teenager?
We met in the school. I was in eighth and ninth grade, and we started to. We had a teacher who encouraged us to write our own songs and our own original songs, and then we started just to play and make a band, a bass and a guitar and singing and drums, and there was two keyboard players as well, and we were just rehearsing in one of the parents' houses, and that was awesome, and got to play a few gigs as well. And but we wanted to play our own songs. We
Mhm.
didn't want to play a cover of other people's songs. We wanted to play our own. So we wrote a lot of songs in Danish and in English at that time. That was really cool.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
when did you guys decide to go your separate ways and pursue other things?
Well, we went. I think we played 2 or 3 years, and people got through high school and then traveled to different towns. I went to from the town I grew up in, and then I went to Copenhagen. And some of the other guys left to other uh, cities in Denmark, and then we were split up. And then I took a break for 30 years. I didn't. I played at home, and when the family is together, we have been playing at gatherings and so on. I played my guitar and singing, but it's only 5 years ago that I picked up the guitar and said I want to play for, well, to get out and play again and record as well.
Yeah, and that was just amazing to me. Like when Laura was telling me, like she was like, "Well, I'm getting older, and her brother as well." And then, you want to decide to get back into music. Was that the like kind of the drive? Like, well, my kids are older. I always wanted to pursue this. Let me get back into it, or was it kind of just like something else, or something that always just driving you to like try it now? Because a lot of people would be scared to even attempt it. 30 years
It
later.
is scary. It is scary. It was very very scary. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to get on a stage and sing in front of people, and especially when well you have done something else for many years. So it is scary. But I was working as a teacher or professor in high school at the time, 5 years ago, and I stopped teaching and I had to do something else. And I just said, okay, I want to play, I want to sing. And some people have told me or said to me uh, through the years that they thought that I should do something more out of it than singing Springsteen for them, Springsteen songs. They thought I should write my own stuff and pick it up. And then I started picking up some songs from back when I was 16. I wrote them and wrote them, and then recorded some of them as well, and released it. That's really been very much fun. Scary as well. Scary as well.
Yeah, because the music world has changed so much from when you wrote it, and from I was reading that was your song "A World Tomorrow" that you wrote when you was 16, and then
Yeah.
made as your first single in 2019. But yeah, like how much different was the music scene for you from like when you were a teenager to being a grown man into a new career now, like learning about everything.
I think. Uh, we really have to. I really have to learn everything from bottom because it's all new. But how is it different? I think it's. I think a lot of gigs here is where you play in a bar and you play cover versions of 2 or 3 or 4 hours, and then that's not what I want. At least not anymore, and I don't want it. I want to play my own stuff, and then I needed to find a place where I could do that. So 4 years ago, I moved from the part of Denmark where I lived to nearer to Copenhagen, the capital, so nearer to the city, so I could be with other people who wanted to do the same as I do. Mm-hmm. So I've the last couple of years I've been playing on stages, small bars in Copenhagen, where they actually want to listen to original songs, and it has to be that for me. So yeah.
Definitely. And I was gonna say, like, and your music is just so good and so impactful. Like, you can really feel like what you're saying. And I think I mentioned that recently in a podcast before, where I'm like, it's all about feeling, because sometimes we get these musicians where it seems like they're just going through the motion, but like with you, we could feel like your lyrics, no matter if it's a song that's happy or something that you went through, like we really feel it and have that that presence when you're performing it. So big round of applause for you.
Thanks.
Especially having that courage to pursue music 30 years later.
Yeah, but that's what I like. That's what I want to do when I sing my own songs. Mm-hmm. Is that I can feel them much better than singing another man's song. So because it comes from inside, it comes from my heart and my soul, and usually I would have an image or a thought or a feeling, emotion, and then write a song about that. Sometimes it's something that I experienced and I just tell it how it is, and sometimes it's a feeling. Actually, it's an emotion I'm singing about, and I have to feel that. And sometimes it can be difficult to feel that with the cover versions of other people's songs. So I want to sing that my own. That's why I do it like this. And yeah, I think awesome. That's
no more cover songs in your near future.
No, not well. Like of course, I can every once in a while sing a Springsteen song or songs that I love and I like, mm-hmm. But it's not the same. 100%. It's not the same feeling inside me. It's not the same. I love Hungry Heart and Waiting on a Sunny Day and a lot of songs of Springsteen, but it's not the same. And I'm lucky actually. 4 years ago, I only had one song that I really has had the courage to play on stage. That was A World Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And now I have maybe 12 or 15 I can play on stage, and don't fuck up and don't make mistakes and just sing and feel it. And I have a lot of other songs that I rehearse every now and then at home. So I want to do more of that.
Definitely. Yeah. And speaking of songs that mean a lot to you, I know me and Laura, we talked about your song Bruno's Children, which is a very deep and powerful song. And I'm just want to say I'm so sorry you had to go through that when she was letting us know that you were falsely accused of sexually assaulting your kids, and they had to go through that and fight for them to get them back. And that's just just so awful you had to go through that. But you want to touch more onto the song and how it all came to play and decided to make your personal life into a song.
Yeah, it was terrible, and it was, even though it's 15 years ago today, it still hurts, and it gave some damage to the whole system, to the heart and soul, and we still all have to work with that, because it's not something that just will disappear. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to do it's for me, it's kind of a therapy to sing about stuff that I experienced, and the heart feelings, the pain, and so on. To sing it and sing it over and over and over again, and then it's kind of a healing at the end of that. And that song actually was written totally different from any other song I've written, because usually I would write lyrics, and then after that I would work on the composition, the melody, and the music, and so on. So, but this time I just woke up with this chorus. So I had both. I could sing it. This is a song about Bruno's children. It just came to me. I wrote it down, and the composition was there, and the melody was there. So it was very fast written, that song. Maybe because I think it's something that's deep inside me and wants to get out. There's for me, there's something I want to break free, like Queen. Really, I want to break free, and breaking free is playing it loud, and singing it loud. And it's the one experience in my life that, and in my children's life, that is we can never forget, because it was so tough, and it was really a nightmare. But in different ways, of course. Me, because I was accused of sexual abuse, and that was the most terrible thing you can be accused of, I think. And I don't know how I survived that, but it was incredible, and having to fight to get them back. I got them back, but we still have that pain inside us. Laura, my daughter, and Jonathan, my son, they were just two small kids, 4 years old, trying to figure out what was going on around them, and why can't we see our dad, and why it was really, really terrible. The authorities who took the decision even said that, Bruno, if you meet your children on the street, you're not supposed to talk to them. You'll have to pass them like you don't know them. That was really, really crazy, and must have been for Jonathan and Laura almost the worst, because they were confused what's going on here, and it was pure pain, I'm sure. I was working as a teacher at that time, and right next to the kindergarten where they were. So we met each other every day almost, but I was not allowed to talk to them the first months or so, until they came home. And I wanted to, I think I wanted to record it and release this song as a manifest for myself and for the people who have followed me through the years, friends and family who have supported me and my kids. I wanted to celebrate actually that support from them. Also, I haven't really had the chance to say thank you to everybody. People helped me and helped us back then by doing demonstrations in front of City Hall in my hometown. They were writing articles in the local newspaper and so on. And I think people are happy when I meet them, and through the years, and they can see we're happy, we're doing something good with our lives. Finally, we can do what we really want, and that's making, for me, is music, and my daughter Laura, music, and my son Jonathan, film, movie, and that's good, and people get happy. But I wanted to celebrate that with telling the stories in a song and get it played on radio stations and all those Spotify and YouTube and so on. So it's and it's also a kind of a goodbye to that time, because well, it's 15 years ago, but it's there, and we'll have to live with this the rest of our lives, but we're still trying to go forward, to move forward. And that's what I sing about I talk about in other songs that I've been writing. I won't go back.
Yeah, I was
Is
going to ask
that
about that song too. Yeah,
exactly? I won't look back. That's actually from an image I had in my head from the Bible. There was Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot and his wife was talking to God, and those two cities were going to be burnt down. And God said, "You can walk, and you can walk away, and that's okay, but you're not supposed to look back on the burning cities, And Lot and his wife was walking, and it was very very difficult not to look back.
mm-hmm.
If I tell you you're not supposed to look back, it's hard not to just to turn your head all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So this story is Lot. He walked, but his wife she turned back, and she was turned into a statue of, I think, salt or rock. So it's very hard not to look back on the bad times, but you really inside you really just want to look forward and go forward. And so yeah, that was that song. So it's about the same things, but yeah.
And like I said, man, but round of applause, man, for you to go through all that and win your children back. And man, like that's tough. Like you say, even though it was 15 years ago, that's something that you guys still go through and fight with every day to move on from that. And I mean, even Laura, just released her new single Only Four, talking about it. So I'll make sure, all my peeps, if you guys haven't seen it, I shared it on almost all my platforms. Check out that, and I'll put Bruno's Children too in the description, along with all your other links and stuff, so they can see all your music or hear all your music and really understand, what you had to go through. And Laura also mentioned too that with you going through that, it also motivated you to make sure that no one else, no other father would ever go through anything like that. And you got into trying to help the laws and things. You want to speak on that more?
Yeah, I did for a couple of years after. Well, the first 2 or 3 years, I think I was just trying to cope with what had happened, and the same. But then I started to contact politicians who was working with this area with social stuff, and try to talk to them and write to them and tell them my story, because I wanted to actually do my part for getting it better for other people who might experience the same thing. And I got through to them, and I got to some of them, and they have made some changes, but it's very very difficult to change. But I think in my heart, I was thinking I've come through. I got my children back, and nobody that was not. Well, a lot of people don't get their children back, even though it wasn't true. So I got my children back, so I had an obligation, actually, I thought, to do what I could do to help other people by changing some bits of the law. And I wrote a book about it and released it 5 years ago, also for actually politicians and authorities to read it from the other side of the coin. I mean, from the man and the children who are hurt. Mm-hmm. And what I've experienced. Some of them have read it from the parliament, and I think that was a big thing for me, that they would read it and take it into their minds when they're working on doing it better. And then, well, now it's 15 years ago, and I've done what I could do, really did, and that's what Laura told me that she wanted me to do, and I said, okay, I'll do what I can, because it was so terrible. It was so terrible, and I don't want anyone to be in that situation. If that was, yeah. So I succeeded with some things in politics, and also with the book and all, and get into the media and tell the story. And but when all that is over, the song Bruno's Children is out there, and then there's still the work inside to say, well, how is life gonna be? You have the pain, and it will still be there, no matter what you do. I have another song that is not as much about this, but still, it's called Long Walk. It's one of my old songs from when I was 16 that I rewrote, and that's the image of. It's also a legend from the Bible, where this guy, he was it's a story, and this guy, he died, and he came up to God and talked to him, and he said, well, God, I could see through my life, every time there was good times, and it was a light and the sun was shining, then I could see two lines of footsteps. So somebody was walking next to me, and I think that was you, God. And God said, yes, I did that. That's true. But then this man said to God, when it was dark, and when it was bad, and when I was through turmoil and pain, I only saw one set of footprints. Where were you, God? And then God said to this man, that was when I carried you. Wow. So he was, yeah. and that I wrote that song, Long Walk, about you're walking through, and you're actually walking alone, because you can have friends, you can have family, but when you're through the darkest hours of your life, you actually only have yourself and God. That's it for me.
That was powerful right there. That's powerful. Yeah. I can't wait to make that into a reel. that was powerful.
So that was my thought, and it's still my thought now. Whenever I can feel in my in my system, in my body, that I have to relax, I have to think positive, but still think, well, everything you go through in life has a meaning. And for me, I believe in God in my own way, but I believe that we're born here on this earth to experience and to learn. And sometimes it's very tough learning. And I have an aunt who said well, God gives you only the jobs that you can do. But sometimes I think God thinks I'm too strong because it's too much of it. But when we get the cards on our hands to do the job and get through the good times and the bad times, I believe that. And I believe that when we get back to God, we have learned a lot. We got those experiences, and we are better persons because we got through them. It's pain and it's hard. And we try to remember, and I do remember, especially today, the good times. The good times, every time, a smile on my daughter's face when she's singing a song, smile on my son's face, and when we're laughing together, and we can do something that is very great, and we get happy. I'm really grateful, and that's the good times. Like Laura's song that I made the melody for. Good things take time. Is sometimes you have to wait a lot to get there. And it's not good every minute of the day or of the week, but it's good most of the time. So I believe we get back there whenever I'm much older, and I get back to God. I can talk to Him, and I will know that He was carrying me on His shoulders. So that's why there were only one set of footprints.
That is so deep, man. I love that. That's cool. Like, that's great. I don't know if I even heard that story before. Wow, like that is like as far as the saying, the footprints and when you only see one set, it's God carrying. Because yeah, there's plenty of times in my life where I wonder how did I make it, and yeah, it's God. God carried me, and just like you and many others. I mean, man, that was mind blowing when you said it. Just like got like chills. I know you can't see my arms, but just like chills, man. That was really good.
Yeah, I believe it because as I told you, there was a lot of people who helped me back then when the kids were in the institution for 8 months. There was a lot of people who helped me, giving me comfort and love and helped me protest. But when I was going to sleep at night, I was alone, and I only had to pray to God. That was it. And also through the years when the Jonathan and Laura was growing up as kids, every night we prayed to God. Said, "Thank you for all the good things you do for us, and we pray you will make us strong to get through the hard times." And that's what we did, and we still think that about that. I wrote a song. We pray for it every day. That's actually, when it comes down to it, is about those times. It's about those times where it was hard and very hard, that we just prayed every day to make it better. And today it is better, but it's not. I talked to Laura a lot about this. She was saying it's not a story that what makes you what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's not that, because that's just a fairy tale. Because you get stronger, yes, but you also get weaker. Because today I can't take as much stress as I could 30 years ago or 20 years ago, and thank God for that. I don't have to do that anymore, because my stress system is luckily not that advanced today, but still the challenge is lower today. Yes. Because my kids are grown up. They turned 20 days ago, 20 years old, and we were out having a meal, and we could be together, and we can be together every day if we want to. And that's a blessing.
That really is. That's a big blessing. And yeah, even back to stress, yeah, like that is the silent killer. The number one killer in the world is stress, and we don't even realize it. Like, it was actually a time I was looking at an old picture of mine when I was like 15, and I was going through a lot around that time. Just like I was family problems, divorce, and like my parents and stuff, and being broke and everything. So like I seen a picture and I looked so like old, almost like I looked so like heavy and stressed. Like it was crazy. Then I looked at a picture when I was like 21, and my friend I was with at the time was looking at both of it was one of those Facebook challenges where you do like, like a whatever year challenge, and she was looking at it and she was like, "Wow, you look so much younger now at the time than you did when you were like 15." And I was looking at it and I was like, dang, I really did. I was like, man, I said that was a stressful time in my life. And even as kids, as teenagers and kids, like the stress can really, weigh on you heavily. And man, I just advise anybody, if you have like stress, and I know it's easier said than done, don't stress things, but try not to as much, because it leads to not just physical appearance but also mental and internal. Like there's a lot of things that go on with stress. So thank you for touching on that too. And I wanted to ask you too about your schooling, because I saw that you studied in history. And I love history. Like that was one of my favorite subjects when I was in school. So I wanted to ask, like, who was your favorite person in history to learn about and to teach about?
That would be, I was actually, when I studied in the university, I was studying North American history, modern American history. And that was great. Uh, and I got the opportunity actually to go to the States and visit a few times. Kentucky, I was there in 1 year, where I did some work with sports, and then I was studying for my dissertation. That I went back and wrote it, um, and also went to New York a couple of times, and I was driving around on the highway and on the interstate highway, and it was fantastic. Those big, it's such a big country, and beautiful. I think many places, but I think Franklin Roosevelt. I really admired him. I was doing my first year at university. I was studying his work as a president. I think he was talking to people. He had those fireside squats where he was talking in the radio, so everybody could listen. I think that was a big comfort in bad times, because it was bad times in the States back then in the 30s. There was a depression and unemployment, and after that came the Second World War. So it was tough times, but it was I see him just like a grandfather who was sitting, and there was to comfort people and say, bring hope. So Franklin Roosevelt would be one of the biggest persons for me in history, at least the histories that I've studied closely.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wanted to ask about it, because I was like, yeah, I really love history. Like a lot of times, if I'm not working at my job and podcasting and promoting, I'm reading something, looking up something history, no matter if it's either sports or American history or just something. I even like doing fun facts. So reading about you, that that was like your major, and I was just like, wow, I wanted to ask,
I think for me, history is even better. Well, it's nice to read about it, and you can make those images in your head. But I love it when it gets alive.
Yeah.
When I go to a place and I can see it. I can see the buildings, or I can see the places and feel it actually. I had a fun story from back in 25 years ago when I was in Kentucky. I was driving with a friend on I think it's called I-75, going south towards Tennessee, and not probably, or was it South Carolina? I think. It was going south, and then Bill pointed on some hills, and there was a lot of trees, and he said, "Oh, those trees, they were planted in the 30s." That was a part of the job that Franklin Roosevelt he did to give people work. So they planted trees all along all the highways, and that was alive. I said, okay, that's fantastic. Now I can see it, because I've read about it back in Denmark, and I was saying, how can you get a lot of people to work on planting trees? And then I saw all those trees on the interstate, and I was just amazed. And when it gets alive like that, that's the best for me. Outside of the little small town I lived in Kentucky, there was something called Indian Fort Theater, and you could get out there and you could walk up, climb a little bit up on the rocks, and then you could see the Appalachian Mountains, and just feel the place, and almost feel how it must have been to be there 200, 300 years ago. That's what I really love today about history. The feeling.
Definitely seeing the sights and stuff. I like going to the museums and everything.
Oh yeah,
it's real awesome. And
really
go ahead. Yeah.
Really seeing it. Like we went to Washington one day. When I was there, and then just seeing the Bill of Constitution, to just see it. It's a piece of paper. It's a real piece of paper. It's not fake. It's real. I love that. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I was like, it's real awesome when you get to see it, and of course, they don't let you touch the stuff, but
No, no, no,
seeing it,
no.
it's like, wow, like that's really a part of history. And then you start thinking like, what life was like back then to like
Exactly.
now, and how would it compare? It's amazing. And
Yeah,
speaking of awesome, amazing, let's go back to your music. And I wanted to
yeah.
ask you, what are some current projects that you got in store for all my peeps and the world, really, that we should be looking forward to?
Well, I think I've released a lot this year, 3 singles and an EP, and then I printed a CD as well with the best songs I've written. I think that there's 9 songs on that one. And then I'm going out to play gigs all those places in Copenhagen that I learned about now, and I love to play there. I think next year I will, not this year, but next year I will do a Christmas song. I want to do a Christmas
Awesome.
song, so that will be next year. Um, I think next Christmas there will be a song from me recorded, and we'll see. It'll be the same style, I think, but maybe we can get some jingle bells into it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm dying for a new Christmas song because over here Mariah Carey is just every day. Like it
Yeah,
starts
yeah,
after Halloween and it plays all the way to like January.
yeah.
it's
It's
I
true, but we tend to listen to the same stuff all the time, and
mhm.
especially in mainstream radio, it's the same 20
Same.
songs every day, and
Yep.
it's been there for years actually. So for new original songs, it's tough to get through to the bigger radios, but because we want to, I think we all want to. I don't know, but now it's just people want to listen to a lot of music that's written in the 80s, and I love
Mhm.
that music, so that's good for me. But I also like to get out and listen to other songwriters and listen to new stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I'm pushing hard once you release them to just put it all over my my social media, talk to people
yeah,
if I can, just to get it out there. Because yeah, me and my sister was actually just joking about that, where we talk about Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas" because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
literally they play that song right after Halloween, and it's playing all the way till January, whatever.
That's true. That's
And
true.
it's
It's a
like
good song. It's a great song. It's
it
fantastic.
is. It's
It's
just like,
fantastic.
oh my god, I heard it so much. I don't want to hear it no more. Oh,
So, but I want to do. I have a song that is a Christmas song, and I'll start working on that. But the thing is, I say that every year, but then it gets October and it's too late.
yeah.
So next year I want to do it in January. So,
Next
so I
year.
got it.
You hear that,
So
my peeps, all my peeps in the audience, make sure you hit up Bruno on social media. Be like, hey, we're waiting on that Christmas, that Christmas song.
exactly, exactly.
And speaking of that, Bruno, just want to say thank you, of course, for always, being open and talking about your music and your career. I just got a few more questions I love to ask.
Yeah.
And one of them is I'm real big on quotes, and you gave me a really good one, of course, earlier. So I love to ask my guests, though, anyway, what is your favorite quote or saying that you like to lean on during the good times or the bad times?
Oh, there's a. Oh, that's a tough one. When it comes to music, or when it comes to personality, when it comes to who I am, because I'm kind of half introvert and half extrovert. So it can I need to be a lot of time on my own. So with my guitar, and then I also want to be social and be with people, and I really like to play. And after I got all those scary thoughts away and nervousness away, I really love to play on stage as well now. But Bruce Springsteen said something in an interview many years ago, I think back in the 80s. And he was saying, when I'm on stage, I like being on stage. When I'm not on stage, I don't like being on stage. And I actually took that, I can relate to that one because when I do play, when I do talk, when I do teach, I really like to be there and do it. But in what do you call it, our ordinary life, I just you know I just want to be on my own, I think. So that's one. That's the one I can come up with right now, I think.
That's a good one. That's a good one right there. I like that, and I can relate that to that too. Actually, at my job a couple years ago, we did a personality test.
Yeah,
and it said that I was 51% introverted and 48% extroverted, and I was like, wow, really? And it was like, it depends on like just the people I interact with. So I'm like, and they said I'm a mediator and stuff, but I advise anybody to go take a personality test. They got a bunch online for free, and you'll be surprised with the.
That's true.
The results.
That's what I did. Yeah, the same thing, personality test, a couple of years ago, and I said, wow, okay, what can I do about that? And the thing is, you can't do anything, but you just have to get to know yourself. And know that's how you are, and that's good, and that's good enough, and then from then on you can start living your life as you're supposed to, because if you are 51% and 49% introvert and extrovert, you can't just stay at home all the time, but at the same time you can't be out with people all the time. You have to mix it and get to balance it. And that's what I've been working on the last 10 years since I took that test. I think it's working fine. Yeah.
Definitely. And Bruno, where can all my peeps and new audience find you on social media? And I'll make sure I plug all your links into the description.
Yeah, well, I do have an artist page on Facebook called Bruno Skibbild Solo. And also I'm on Twitter, Bruno Skibbild as well. And if you want to find me on my main page on Facebook, it's Bruno Skibbild Christensen. So it's my full name. Otherwise, yeah, Facebook, Twitter. And then, of course, all my songs are on YouTube and Spotify and all those streaming services. Awesome. Yeah.
I'll make sure I put it all in the video in the description. And my last question I love to ask all my guests is just really touching on gratitude. I always love to end that show on a positive note, and just keeps me grounded, And I just wanted to ask you, what are 3 things that you're grateful for in your life currently?
3 things. Well, first of all, I'm grateful for my kids. We're grown up now, Jonathan and Laura. I'm grateful for having them around, and for being able to live and see them grow, and that's just number one. And I get really grateful for where they have come today, and I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for having a good job besides music, and being able to do what I like to do. And you can sum it up. I'm grateful for believing and in a God that will allow me to live the life I do today. I think that's a 3.
Amen to that. Thank you so much, Bruno, again, for being on the show. I'm so hyped about this. For a while, we talked for a while to have you on, and it's just really good interview. We got to know you a lot. We talked about your music, your EPs and singles you released. Is there one last message you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Well, I want to thank you for inviting me, and I want to thank you for a very good talk here. And it was well, you never know what you're gonna say how is my answer gonna be in your questions. But there was some things today that I really wanted to say, and I'm happy to be able to do that. Also, that people can listen and they can say, okay, my gratefulness for life, and for the people who have helped me, and I'm very happy to be on your show, and and to be able to say that now. So and I want, if I should say something to the audience who is looking at this and listening, that there is, even though maybe some of them is through bad times, we are all through bad times now because of the economy and so on. But there is a way through it, I'm sure, and there's hope at the end. And I think my belief is that I belong in a in a world where you can pray to God and then live the best life you can do. So even though I know people are in trouble many places now, there's hope. We can get through it, all of us, I think. Yeah, that's it, I think.
Amen to that. And Bruno Skibbild, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruno. And remember, all my peeps and the new audience, this is available not only just on YouTube, but Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. That's right, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, everywhere you think, all major podcast platforms. Check it out. Check out Bruno's music. Everything will be in the description to his links, his Spotify. I mean, you're going to be blown away by just the deep message that he has in his music and just the way it all comes together. I'm just, once again, very grateful to have you on the show, Bruno, and I hope you have an amazing day, brother.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruno.